The first thing he noticed was the way her head kept slipping against the cold marble wall, like gravity had given up waiting for her to fight it. Marcus froze mid-step, his hand tightening around the paper bag of leftover groceries he'd promised his daughter he wouldn't forget again. The hallway of the hotel stretched quiet and golden behind him, but right there, just outside one of the suites, his boss, Rebecca Hayes, was barely conscious, her eyes closed, her breath uneven, her balance gone. For a split second, he thought about walking away. And maybe if you were him, you would have too, because helping someone like her, someone powerful, distant, untouchable, was never simple. Because one wrong move, one misunderstanding, could cost everything. Because when life has already knocked you down enough times, you start choosing safety over kindness. But then her body tilted a little too far, and he moved. The groceries dropped softly to the carpet as Marcus stepped forward, catching her just before she hit the floor. Her weight leaned into him, fragile in a way he had never imagined someone like her could be. The same woman who ran boardrooms like battlefields now barely had the strength to hold herself upright. Her fingers instinctively clutched at his sleeve, as if even in her haze, she knew falling would be worse. He swallowed hard, glancing down the empty hallway. If anyone saw this, if anyone twisted this, he could lose his job. The job he needed more than sleep, more than pride, more than anything. Back home, his 6-year-old son, Noah, was probably still awake, waiting for him with that stubborn hope children have. The kind that refuses to understand exhaustion or late shifts or empty promises. Marcus had already lost too much in life. His wife, his stability, his sense of direction. This job was the one thing holding everything together. So what would you do? Would you walk away and protect what little you have left? Or would you risk it for someone who might not even remember? Marcus adjusted his grip and knocked on her door with his elbow, hoping someone inside would answer. No response. He tried again, louder this time, his heart thudding. Still nothing. Her keys slipped from her loose fingers. That was when he made the decision that would follow him into the next day. He picked up the keys, opened the door, and carried her inside. The suite was dimly lit, untouched, almost too perfect, like a space waiting for a version of her that hadn't shown up tonight. Marcus gently laid her on the couch, adjusting a cushion beneath her head. He hesitated for a moment, unsure if he should stay or leave, unsure where the line between help and overstep was. He grabbed a glass of water from the kitchen and set it nearby. Then with careful hands, he draped a blanket over her shoulders. She stirred slightly, whispering something too faint to understand. For a brief moment, he saw something different in her face, not authority, not power, but something softer. Something tired. Then he stepped back. He made sure the door was locked behind him as he left, his pulse still racing as he picked up his forgotten groceries from the hallway floor. That night, he barely slept, because reality has a way of creeping in when silence falls. Every possible outcome played through his mind. Accusations, misunderstandings, termination. The fragile life he had rebuilt crumbling again because he chose to help instead of walk away. Morning came too quickly. The office buzzed like any other day, but Marcus felt every step heavier as he walked in. He kept his head low, avoiding eye contact, waiting for the inevitable call to HR, or worse, to her office. It came before noon. His name echoed through the assistant's voice, calm but firm, asking him to step inside Rebecca's office. His chest tightened. This was it. As he walked down that hallway, every step felt like it carried the weight of his son's future. He thought about Noah's small hand gripping his the night before, about the quiet promise he made to always be there, no matter what. He knocked. A pause. Then her voice, steady and clear, invited him in. Rebecca stood by the window, sunlight catching the edges of her silhouette. She looked composed, controlled, exactly like the woman everyone knew. For a moment, she didn't turn around. Marcus braced himself. But when she finally faced him, something was different. Her eyes didn't carry confusion. They carried memory, and something else. Something heavier. She walked toward him slowly, each step deliberate, as if measuring the space between who she was last night and who she needed to be now. Marcus expected anger, suspicion, distance. Instead, she stopped a few feet away, her expression unreadable but not cold. She didn't pretend it hadn't happened, and somehow that made everything feel even more uncertain. Her voice came softer than he expected, not fragile, but honest in a way that didn't belong in boardrooms. She acknowledged what he had done. Not with grand words, not with dramatic gratitude, but with a quiet weight that made it clear she understood exactly what it had cost him to step in. Because she knew the risk. She knew the power imbalance. She knew that in another version of this story, things could have gone very differently for him, and that truth lingered between them. Marcus felt something shift in his chest, something he hadn't expected. Not relief, not yet. But the tension loosened just enough to let him breathe. She didn't dismiss him right away. Instead, she asked about his life. Not as a formality, but as if she actually wanted to know. He told her about Noah, about the long nights, about the quiet battles he fought just to keep things together. And for the first time, Rebecca didn't look like someone above him. She looked like someone who understood what it meant to be alone in a room full of expectations. That day didn't end with a promotion or a dramatic transformation, but something real had begun. In the weeks that followed, Marcus noticed small changes, not just in her but in the space around her. The sharp edges of her leadership softened. The distance she kept from people grew smaller. And one evening, as he prepared to leave early for Noah's school event, a request he would have been too afraid to make before, she approved it without hesitation. Not as a favor, but as something natural because she remembered. And sometimes that's all it takes. Not grand gestures, not perfect endings. Just the choice to see someone when you didn't have to, and to never pretend you didn't. Before this story ends, tell me in the comments, what would you have done if you were in Marcus's place that night? And if this story touched something inside your heart, if it made you believe even a little more in kindness, second chances, and quiet courage, please like, share, and subscribe, so more stories like this can find the people who need them most.